All right, so let's talk about trend lines. So trend line is a tool, just like most other tools that we use in trading. And I believe most of you, this will not be the first time you hear about trend line. So this is a trend line tool. You can find it here. So you come to line trend lines. And this is the first tool. So what trend line is it is measuring how strong the trend is. And in trading, there are two things that we have. We are looking at the chart. What you are looking at is you are looking at price and time. So trend line connects price and time together. So that's what trend line is. So there are so many people have different ways of using trend line, but whatever you are doing, the key thing is consistency. So I'm going to take you through how I use my trend lines and why I think doing it this way is good. And I'm not saying this is the only way you can use trend lines, but this is what works for me and it is simple. And one thing about doing it consistently in a specific way is that when there is an issue, you can go back and then try and see what you did wrong. Because most of the time, the use of trend line that has been taught by so many people, like you draw your trend line, you try and see which levels it touches, and then you're waiting for the third touch. That is okay. But what you realize is that there is no consistency with the way all that is used, right? So the first key point we are going to talk about with trend lines is you want to connect the two closest levels. You are connecting the two closest levels. So if this is a structure that we have and you are drawing a trend line, your focus would be on connecting the closest level. So here, the closest levels here would be this level here and that level here. So your trend line goes like this. And at the break of this level here, you can be looking for an opportunity for a trade, right? So this makes a lot of sense on the chart. I'm not going to do a lot of out of the chart demonstration. So let's go right straight into the chart. So here we are on NZD USD on the 4-hour time frame. How will you draw the trend line on multiple scenarios like this? So from what I just explained, you're only looking for 2 points to draw your trend line. So here, if I want to draw a trend line here, the two levels that my trend line is going to go to would be this level here and that level here. So your trend line would be like this. And around this point here, at the break of the trend line, you'll be looking for a buying opportunity here. But that will be secondary. After drawing this line, there is no other level that you can draw here again. The next time you can draw another trend line would be up here, connecting this level here and this level here, because you are always looking for the two closest points to draw your level. Two closest points. So here, the points that we are looking to draw a trend line would be this one and this one. And then price comes down, 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 down. Here, we could draw another trend line here. where we can connect this low to this low. So here, this is also a valid level to draw a trend line, right? But you are looking for the closest level. So the closest levels are this one and that one. So here, you could draw a trend line here, right? If you're looking at the closest levels here, you could draw a trend line here, but you are drawing it in line with the structure. Here, this market is in a downtrend. So as the market is in a downtrend, you are looking for selling opportunity. So your interest is in connecting the lows, not the highs. If you're connecting the highs, which means you're expecting price to break outside to the upside to give you a trade, even though we had a short-term sell here, you are not interested in doing this in a downtrend, but rather you would want to connect this level here, this and this nice trend line. You can connect this level and this level here, nice trend line. Okay. And like that. So up onto here, you don't have any other level that you could connect. Here, one level that you could connect from this current price here would be this level and this level. So again, if you are drawing your trend lines, you are connecting both the wicks. You're connecting the wicks where the wicks are. So you are not drawing your trend line like this, but like this. You're connecting them to the wicks. Let's take another instrument, AUD USD. So here I have a trend line drawn here connecting these 2 wicks. I could get a trend line from here, this low here, to that low. All right, so this sounds like a lot of information, but basically when the market is in a downtrend, right, you are looking to connect the lows to look for selling opportunity. If the market is in an uptrend, you are looking to connect the highs. So something of this sort. If the market is trending to the downside, then you want to be looking for a selling opportunity. In that case, you want to be connecting the lows, right? You want to be connecting the lows like this. You want to be connecting the 2 lows like here, here. And here you could get a retest here, but your focus is connecting the lows and selling after the break. So how could you use, so this is something that you can actually use as a strategy on its own to trade, but you need some complements to it. So one of the complements you can use to this is to use the EMA. And the EMA I use in this kind of scenario is the 55 EMA. So how do you use this? So this is, so 55 EMA. So EMA, you go to inputs and then you make sure the length is 55, right? So what are you looking for in this scenario? When price, you want to do this on a 1 hour, the 30 minutes, and then the 4 hour time frame, and some on a daily too. But don't do it on the 5 and 15 minutes. Why won't you do it on, you can also do it on those time frames, but the higher the time frame in general, the more accurate whatever level you are looking at is. So even though like there is this misconception that you could get like very nice entry on the lower time frame, it is not really ideal unless you are only looking for scalping opportunities. That's when you would want to look at those time frame. So when price is below the 55 EMA, you are looking to sell, and in that case you are only selling after the break of a trend line to the downside. So here, for instance, you connect this level here, this one, and this one. After the break and retest of this level, you are looking to sell because price is below the EMA, right? So here, price is below the EMA. You connect this low and this low here. And then at the rate test here, you're looking to sell because price is below the EMA. So here, price just broke the EMA. But in this case, if you draw a trend line here connecting this low and this low, from this level above here, you're looking for buying opportunity to the upside because price is above the EMA. So this is how you want to combine the trend line just by connecting 2 points and then the position of price and the EMA to give you a trade opportunity. So here I'm not seeing any clear trend line here. Yes, I see one here. So you want to connect the highs here, these two highs here. And you're looking for a buying opportunity because what price is above the EMA 55. So there could be so many scenarios. This could be one of the very safest entries that you would get by waiting for price to break the EMA, breaking the trend line, and then going in the position of the EMA. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame and see what we can see on this time frame. So here, for instance, you want to look at this, connecting this and this level here. Price breaks this level, and then we go short because price is below the EMA. So there are so many other things that you could add to this, right? But we are keeping it simple for now. But for instance, price broke the trend line. Here is a very nice resistance. You can draw a zone here. And because price is still below the EMA, when price comes break this level, you take a sell here. Price makes a correction back into this level. That is another selling opportunity here. All right. So this is where you can add other forms of complexity to it. So because price is below the EMA, here you're looking to connect two lows, but sometimes you don't get them. Ideally, this is the kind of setup you're looking for. You want a correction like the second low to be facing up like this so that you can draw your trend line like this. But sometimes in some kind of scenario, you have it in this format like the way we have here. So in this case, this is not a type of trend line you are looking for where it is facing the downside, but this is still a valid trend line for you to use to find an entry. Right? You can go short below this level here. Right? So it is important you look for setups that are really clean, that are giving you very nice trend either to the upside or the downside, and then waiting for a complete break of the trend line to go in the direction of the trade. So here, for instance, we are not seeing any clear trend line break here. So in this case, price is below the EMA. If you are looking for a trade with the trend line, you don't really have any of sorts here. Maybe you would want to do this connect this level in that level and extend it all the way down here. And when you do that, this level might give you a reset, a retest here for you to start selling from here, right? But apart from that, you don't really see anything here. So this, when you are trading, this is something that is yet to come. This is something that you are looking for, connecting the lows and waiting for the retest to sell, because price is below the EMA. You're only looking for selling opportunities, right? So this is one part of complexity to it, looking at price below the EMA and drawing your trend line after you've connected your highs and your lows. There is another form of complexity to it where you are looking at retest of psychological levels. So in using psychological levels, I think I'll cover psychological levels in a whole session on its own. But psychological levels are like run number level. So for instance, you have 1.09, 1.1, 1.11, 1.12. Those are major levels that you have price testing those levels. So for instance, we have price below the EMA here. It broke and retested the psychological level 1.11. That was a good selling opportunity to 1.10. Right? So these are important levels to pay attention to. Right? So that is the round level. So what you are looking at is, if you are not getting a trend line break here, if you are not getting any trend line break here, a rejection of a psychological level when price is still below or above the EMA is a good trade for you. So here we have price below the EMA and we have a resistance on top of the psychological level, 1.11. That was a good selling opportunity here. So here, if you're using trend lines to connect, you want to connect the closest lows, this one and this one. You have yourself a nice selling opportunity here. Right. So here, combining your trend lines and then your psychological levels could give you very, very nice entries. Very, very nice entries. So here, for instance, we don't get any trend line break here, but we have price above the EMA, right? But we had price starting from here. This psychological level goes up, comes back to test the psychological level, 1.14, 141, and price is still above the EMA. So that was a good buying opportunity from here. Either to take your profit here or take your profit here, right? So that is one aspect of the trend lines, using the trend lines together with the EMA and using the psychological levels also as a helping tool. So nice trend line break here. We look to go long here because price is above the EMA. All right. So in this lesson, I only intended to talk about EMA, using the EMA to trade the two closest trend lines. So practice it and then come up with questions if you have any.